is this exclusive Joel Sherman, people sending him emails from both sides article this morning, where you have both Tony Clark and one of the lead negotiators for Major League Baseball sending Joel Sherman emails saying, no, that's not what I said. This is what I said. No, this is what they said. Back and forth and trading barbs, as he puts it. So they have this conference call on Sunday to make this simple because it's getting disgustingly complicated at this point. To make this simple, they have a conference call on Sunday. The Major League Baseball side tells Joel Sherman that Tony Clark admitted that in the agreement there is something in there that says that there will be a renegotiation if there are no fans. So he says that Tony Clark finally admitted that. So then Joel Sherman goes to Tony Clark and says, this guy, this whatever his name is, the lead investigator, not investigator, the lead negotiator for Major League Baseball, says, oh, hey, this guy said this. Did you say this? And he goes, no, that's not what I said. What I said was I acknowledged that we knew that they would come to us to renegotiate, and they would have to change our minds, but we wouldn't have to take pay cuts.
No.
That's what I was saying.
No.
And now it's like, okay, so this thing has been negotiated in the media this entire time. And then Tony Clark, he even complains about the owners negotiating in the media, but then he's doing the same damn thing. So the fact now that we've got, like, Judge Joel Sherman hearing both sides of the argument and putting out emails into this column, which is no fault of his. He's doing his job. I'm not knocking him at all. Who I'm knocking are these two sides. It's now a confluence of crap in the media every single day. It's just not going to happen.
I also think that we in the media make it worse because then we put our own spin on it. We give our own take on it. We give our own opinion. And then on top of that, for the most part, I think the owners have held collectively tight together. And anything that does come out of Major League Baseball's front office there's a reason for it, and that's why they get guys like Joel Sherman to go out there and put it out there. The latest one is that some MLB owners do not want to even play baseball this year because they'll lose less money. So that comes to a media person like Joel Sherman. He puts it out there, and that is to scare the players. There's a reason why you do that. You try to divide and conquer. You try to scare the players. You put a little morsel out there. It gets thrown out. Now, all of a sudden, the players who are not nearly – they are probably together, but are not nearly afraid of saying something publicly like Blake Snell did, like Bryce Harper did, like many other players have done via social media. Now they react to those things, and then the owners can detect the temperature of the players that they're negotiating with and seeing whether or not that union leadership is going to be put under any other further pressure to bend to more of the demands from the owners. So it's a classic way of handling a negotiation and using the media in your favor.
Yeah, I understand this is not the first time this has happened. It's just excruciatingly frustrating to watch it happen right now in this particular circumstance with this sport. Now, the 50-game proposal was thrown out there by the owners. We could pay prorated salaries for 50 games if you want to play 50 games. Now, I still stand by the fact that any sort of competitive baseball to me is better than no competitive baseball, and I would take that. But this is the one that I like the least. I mean, 50 games doesn't sound like anything in baseball. I mean, we're talking about like less than 2 months of baseball. I'd still take it. I'd still watch it, but I feel like they could do a little bit better than that. I mean, half a season sounds to me like the least amount of games that should be played.
Yeah, sitting in these negotiating rooms all those years ago, I'm not going to get all worked up over all of it until it comes down to the last minute. And we're not anywhere near the last minute yet, so they're still going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until one side blinks a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit, and then they'll probably get a deal done. So I'm not. I like at this point, I still want to say there's a good 10 days left before I would start getting nervous about this whole thing.
Okay, so you're going to set the over-under. Today's June 12th. You're setting
Yeah,
the
right
over-under.
around June 12th to June 15th. I think if they get something done by June 12th, then they can say to the players, okay, we need to get you wherever you need to get to be able to start going through the process of a second spring training, and then we'll open on July 3rd. You know, and maybe there's a meeting of the minds. Maybe it's 82 games. You know, the thing about it is 82 games it's not going to be 82 games at a prorated salary, because the owners have said that's not doable. They cannot do that. So the question is how much more will the players give? Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, I suppose, or how much more will the owners give? I mean, they could cave on some of this if they wanted to.
Well,
they end up losing money, but they could.
But remember, the owners have already given the players $170 million, and they've already given the players the right, if there's no baseball this year, all the players will still have the service time back to them. In other words, they'll get the year service time even if they don't play. And that's a huge thing for the players, by the way. Yeah. That is huge, because it allows Mookie Betts and company to become free agents next year.
Yeah, which is, of course, huge in their careers, even though who the hell knows what free agency is going to look like next year. It's also a bad time to hit it. I mean, you could also make a case that waiting around and staying under contract for another year as the game and the world starts to rebound might be the better thing. But I understand what you're saying. In a normal circumstance, you want to be able to have that service time and hit free agency when you're younger.
It helps Aaron Judge. It helps Gleyber Torres. It helps Andujar. It helps Gary Sanchez. It helps a lot of the Yankees. It helps Pete Alonso. It helps Jeff McNeil. It helps a lot of the Mets, too. So, you know, it's not like the owners haven't given something to the players. Like I said, they gave them $170 million. You know, guys that were making $10 million a year that would normally be making $50,000 a day have been making $5,000 a day up until this past Sunday without having to do anything. You know, they weren't playing, so they were getting something, and depending on how the union divvied it up, was dependent on, you know, your salary and how much of a percentage you were going to get for not doing anything. Plus, you were also going to be able to get the service year, the year under your belt as a player. So it's not like the players lost everything. I mean, they've gotten other things out of this that are important to them.
Yeah, but they're used to getting everything. That's the problem.
Well, but they don't believe they're getting everything. That's the problem. They don't believe that the owners are true when they talk about the revenues and all that other stuff. And they never talk about, and this is amazing, they never talk about the worth of the franchise and how you'd like to think that the franchise values have gone up over the years. Not all franchises, but a lot of franchises have. And, you know, the Yankees have been probably the most, I guess, I think them and the Cowboys are the two franchises that are worth the most.
Yeah,
when you look at it.
In this country, yeah. Yep.
And think about, you know, what George Steinbrenner paid for the Yankees. And then he created the Yes Network on top of all of that, you know, and built a brand, built a major brand. And good for him, and good for his family, and good for the people that were his partners, and he paid them off. And good for the guys like Randy and Lon and everybody else in that front office over there. They've done an unbelievable job. They built a brand new, ginormous museum of a stadium. They got that pushed through. So, you know, the Yankees, you know, are one of those teams where if you're a player, they pay you well. I mean, they're paying a number of guys really well, and then they have a number of guys that are under $1 million per year. But they have taken their brand, and they have just basically pushed it forward, much like Jerry Jones has done with the Cowboys.